Many multimillionaires, despite portfolios overflowing with tens of millions, wake up every single morning terrified of being broke. This isn't a figure of speech. It's a documented, pervasive psychological reality for a significant portion of the ultra-wealthy. You might assume financial security arrives when your net worth hits 8 figures, or perhaps even 9. But what if I told you that for countless individuals, that milestone only intensifies a deeply rooted fear of poverty, creating an invisible, torturous cage? By the end of our discussion today, you will not only understand the insidious psychological mechanism known as financial dysmorphia, but you'll also grasp the powerful, often unnoticed force of relative deprivation that perpetually distorts the financial reality for even the most affluent among us. This isn't just about them. It's about understanding the universal traps of human perception that can derail your own pursuit of genuine financial peace, regardless of your current capital. The world sees a person with, say, $20 million in liquid assets and immediately projects an image of ultimate freedom. You envision lavish travel, sprawling estates, investment portfolios that effortlessly generate passive income, and a serene detachment from daily financial anxieties. The idea of ever checking a price tag or worrying about a monthly utility bill becomes an absurd notion. Yet, a surprising number of individuals residing in these rarefied echelons of wealth find themselves grappling with a profound sense of inadequacy, a gnawing insecurity that refuses to be quieted by their impressive balance sheets. This phenomenon has a name: financial dysmorphia. It's a distorted self-perception of one's financial standing, much like body dysmorphia, where an individual sees flaws that aren't there or are drastically exaggerated. Here, the distorted lens isn't focused on physical appearance, but on the perceived insufficiency of one's own substantial wealth. Consider the tech entrepreneur who, after selling her second startup for $40 million, still finds herself meticulously budgeting for groceries and experiencing genuine distress over a minor dip in the stock market. Objectively, her capital could sustain her and several generations of her family in comfort. Subjectively, in her mind, she's always teetering on the edge. Or imagine a real estate investor, a veteran of dozens of successful deals, whose personal net worth hovers around $75 million. Despite this, he constantly voices concerns about an impending market crash that could wipe him out, even though such a crash would still leave him with tens of millions. These aren't isolated anecdotes. They represent a widespread pattern where internal financial benchmarks are set so impossibly high or so deeply skewed by social comparison that no amount of actual wealth ever feels truly sufficient. Their comfort threshold for financial security doesn't rise linearly with their assets. It seems to ascend exponentially, always out of reach. It's like chasing a mirage in the desert, where every step closer makes the water recede further. The initial goal of, say, $10 million, once achieved, is immediately replaced by a new, more ambitious, and seemingly vital target of $30 million, then $50, then $100. This constant escalation ensures a perpetual state of striving, not of contentment. If you're finding this perspective on wealth and human psychology as unsettling as it is illuminating, and you want to understand these invisible forces that shape our financial lives, consider subscribing. Your engagement signals to the platform that these critical insights into hidden economic and psychological mechanisms matter, helping more people see how the system actually works, and it empowers this channel to keep digging into the often unspoken truths that truly drive capital and human behavior. Now, where were we? Ah yes, the endless pursuit. This phantom scarcity isn't just a vague feeling of wanting more. It's a profound, persistent, and often debilitating fear of losing what they have, or of not having enough compared to their perceived peers. It's the constant internal narrative that whispers, what if it all vanishes, even when the foundations of their fortune are robust and diversified? It's the fear of falling from a perceived pedestal, an imaginary social cliff edge, even when that fall would objectively still land them in a luxurious, multi-million-dollar safe net. This creates a cognitive dissonance that is incredibly stressful, causing them to cling to resources even when they are abundant, or to take on unnecessary risks in an effort to catch up to an ever-moving target. The question that hangs in the air, the one that makes the next layer of understanding essential, is this: but why, for individuals with such immense resources, does this specific psychological mechanism manifest so powerfully and so relentlessly? What deeply ingrained human impulse fuels this illogical, self-defeating fear, turning wealth into a source of torment rather than tranquility? The core mechanism at play, the invisible hand that perpetually moves the goalpost for the wealthy, is called relative deprivation. It's a psychological phenomenon where people's sense of fairness and well-being isn't primarily determined by their absolute wealth or objective circumstances, but by how their situation compares to that of a chosen reference group. For the vast majority of people, their reference group might be their immediate family, neighbors, or colleagues at a similar income level. For the ultra-wealthy, however, their reference group isn't the average person. It's other ultra-wealthy individuals, often those with vastly, sometimes unimaginably more capital. This is where the distortion truly takes hold. Imagine a highly successful hedge fund manager with a personal fortune of, let's say, $60 million. In any objective sense, this sum provides extraordinary financial security and limitless opportunities. But if their inner circle consists of colleagues who manage funds worth billions, or friends who have just sold their AI startup for $500 million, suddenly that $60 million feels inadequate. They see their peer buying a 300-foot super yacht, or investing in a private space venture, or acquiring a sports team. Suddenly, their perfectly comfortable $60 million feels like a modest sum, almost meager in comparison. The cost of living in their specific social orbit isn't just higher, it's exponentially, astronomically higher than what most people can even conceive. A private jet for a casual weekend trip to Aspen, a Hamptons estate that requires a multi-million-dollar annual maintenance budget, philanthropic pledges that run into the tens of millions, these become the new normal against which their own wealth is implicitly measured. The psychological bar isn't static, it constantly elevates, scaling with the perceived achievements and possessions of their most successful acquaintances. Before reaching their first substantial fortune, perhaps $10 million seemed like the ultimate pinnacle of freedom and security. Yet, once they hit that $10 million mark, their internal goalpost has already moved. They've interacted with people worth $50 million, or $100 million, or perhaps even $1 billion, and their new, unspoken target shifts to match these new reference points. This isn't necessarily conscious greed. It's a deeply ingrained social comparison bias, a fundamental human tendency amplified to extreme levels by proximity to unimaginable wealth. The wealth game, for them, ceases to be about absolute accumulation that provides comfort and safety. It transforms into a relentless, exhausting competition to maintain or improve their perceived rank within an exclusive, unforgiving hierarchy. And that hierarchy is always visible, always demanding more, always threatening to expose a perceived deficit. The very systems of elite networking and social status within these circles reinforce this dynamic, creating a constant pressure to keep up, to expand, to achieve more, not for personal comfort, but for social standing. It's a perpetual treadmill, fueled by the psychological illusion that more money will bring more peace, when in fact, for them, it often only brings more pressure to keep pace with an ever richer, ever more demanding peer group. The goal, the true feeling of enough, becomes an elusive shadow, always just beyond reach. Understanding this profound psychological trap, this phantom scarcity, is critical not just for recognizing the hidden pain of the ultra-wealthy, but for inoculating yourself against it as you build your own capital. Here are 3 specific, actionable takeaways you can implement to ensure your financial journey leads to genuine freedom, not just an endless chase. First, you must consciously define what enough truly means for you, completely independent of external benchmarks, social media fantasies, or what any peer possesses. Get concrete. What specific lifestyle does it fund? What experiences does it enable? What level of risk does it mitigate so you can sleep peacefully at night? Is it enough to cover all your essential living expenses for 50 years? Is it enough to pursue a passion project without worrying about income? Is it enough to educate your children and have a comfortable retirement? Write down those specific numbers, those precise metrics, and those concrete life goals. This isn't just an abstract exercise, it's the creation of your personal internal compass, one that will prevent you from being swayed by the ever-shifting goalposts of societal comparison. Second, you need to actively cultivate an abundance mindset by consciously practicing gratitude for your current resources, no matter their scale. Shift your focus away from the perceived gap between your current standing and some idealized more, and instead, center your attention on the immense privilege and opportunities your current position affords you. This isn't about ignoring ambition. It's about reframing your internal dialogue. When you catch yourself comparing, intentionally redirect that thought to something you are genuinely grateful for financially, something your current capital allows you to do or be. This consistent cognitive reframing is a powerful exercise in mental discipline that can fundamentally alter your relationship with money. Third, develop a strategy for strategic detachment from comparison. Consciously filter your information intake. Limit excessive exposure to extreme wealth flaunting, whether that's on social media, in certain publications, or even within specific social circles, if you find it triggers comparison anxiety. Understand that public displays of wealth are almost always curated performances, often designed to project an image rather than reflect inner peace or even true liquid net worth. Many highly visible fortunes are illiquid or heavily leveraged. Your financial journey, your goals, and your values are unique. Trying to measure your progress against another's carefully constructed highlight reel is a guaranteed, express path to perpetual discontent and phantom scarcity. Focus on your own lane. You now understand that true financial security isn't merely an arbitrary number on a balance sheet. It's a deeply personal, often elusive psychological construct. You see that the relentless pursuit of capital, when untethered from a clearly defined, self-generated purpose, can become an endless, anxiety-ridden treadmill, even for those at the very pinnacle of the economic hierarchy. The invisible chains of phantom scarcity can bind even those who appear to have boundless freedom. You recognize that securing wealth is only one part of the equation. The other, often far more challenging half, is cultivating the mental framework, the psychological fortitude, to actually enjoy it and find peace. What is your ultimate enough number? Like this video so you can easily revisit these vital insights on financial dysmorphia and relative deprivation the next time you feel the subtle, insidious pressure of endless comparison. What we've just unpacked reveals a profound and often uncomfortable truth about human psychology and capital. The biggest obstacles to genuine financial peace are often internal, not external, and they can plague individuals at every income level. The complex systems that shape our world, from market structures to technological shifts, are often designed with these very human biases in mind, frequently exploiting them for profit, power, or competitive advantage. Stay with us as we continue to decode these hidden mechanisms, the unseen forces that sculpt our economies and dictate our financial futures. Subscribe to ensure you don't miss the next deep dive, the next vital truth, already bubbling up from our research into how money, markets, and human nature truly interact.